I've found that there are a lot of leaders out there, people who are working hard, their heart is in the right place, but they're not very effective. And as a result, their businesses are suffering. Today, I want to empower you with several strategies that I believe can make you better. And these are ideas that you can implement right away. At the end of this session, you'll also have a chance to download a little cheat sheet that I put together that summarizes some of the key points that we're discussing today. My name is Ken Okel. I'm a professional speaker. I talk to audiences about improving your performance on the job. I pull from my background in broadcast news, hurricane relief, and professional ballet. Are you ready to start? Well, buckle up. Let's get to the first principle. It is a simple one. Keep learning. Businesses grow thanks to new ideas. Are you seeking out new strategies, new ways of doing business? It's important not to think that if you're successful already, that you've kind of learned everything that you need to know. You're done with that stuff. No, things change over time. You need to empower yourself with knowledge. I suggest looking at other companies in your industry, outside of your industry, for some inspiration. See how they are doing things. I do want to warn you, though. Sometimes we tend to look too much at the big boys. We're looking at the Apples, the Googles, the McDonald's, the Southwest Airlines. These are great companies and we can learn a lot from them, but not all of their strategies will scale down to your organization. Sometimes the gold might be found in a Chamber of Commerce meeting, simply talking to someone about a pressing issue or a new strategy that they're doing. That person's sitting right across from you. They're in your area. Local knowledge, especially people who are working in your area, might be much better than what's working for the big boys. Just keep that in mind. Innovation, that's what you want to make sure you're pursuing. New ideas that you have, and not just hearing about an idea, but seeing it go forward. Who's going to be implementing it? Do you need additional resources to make it happen? And what's the timeline for it? These are all part of the innovation process. You can't skip over these steps. You can't just say, okay, tomorrow we're changing everything. No. You need to have a strategy for it. Along those same lines, I'll give you a little quiz here. Some businesses claim to be innovative, and I ask them a very simple question. What's the last innovative thing you've done in the past 6 to 9 months? Sometimes people can't answer that. So say, okay, let's go back a year, 2 years. Now, some years, maybe you don't need to innovate. But if you're an organization that believes that they're cutting edge and doing things differently, you actually have to do things a little differently. You have to bring in some new ideas. If you have a pipeline and a process for doing it, great. That means you're able to change when suddenly something unexpected happens, like a pandemic. Make sure that you're not just talking about being innovative, that you actually are committed to it, because that can change your perspective a lot. For leaders, you got to use your team. Especially when the pressure is on, you may feel like you need to do everything, and you start to do everyone's little job. I understand. You're probably good at everything. You can succeed in all these different positions, but should you be the one doing it? And here's the example of the football team. You see the offensive line there. You can't be every offensive line person. Someone else has to do that task. I suggest it's a pretty simple formula. Make sure you have good people who are qualified. Set expectations of what you want or what you need them to do. Make sure they have training, the education necessary to perform those tasks. Let them do their work, and then you can get with them and judge the results and see if adjustments need to be made. Sometimes it takes a couple tries to figure out the right formula. But delegation is important because you can fill your day doing things, but you may not accomplish anything. So as a leader, you really need to make sure that you are respecting time. When things get challenging, often leaders will put in more time. I understand, I've been there. But you can't do this forever. If every day you're working endless days that blur one into the other, it's going to start to burn you out. You're going to be less effective. You're going to be making mistakes. You need to create some boundaries in your day. When does the workday begin? When does it end? Sometimes you do the best work when you're unplugged. You give your mind a chance to relax some. Just adding more time to a problem may not solve it. Sometimes our days as leaders become kind of a maze of activities. But like a maze, you're not taking the shortcut to your destination. You're going all over the place, as you can see here. As a leader, sometimes you may like to do certain things that are fun. You enjoy doing certain activities, but you're not necessarily the only person who could do them. You're not necessarily the best person who could do them. If that's the case, then delegate them. And I understand that sometimes we use the fun activities as a way to keep us from making hard decisions or thinking about innovation, where the innovation may be a little painful at first. So you want to think about your day using your time as smartly as possible, the shortest path that you can have from point A to point B. Your time is important and it's precious. Don't fill it with fun, boring tasks. Make sure it's focused on the money items. I wanted to get that summary of all the things I've talked about today. We go into detail there. Just follow the link, which I am putting into the chat box right now. If you're viewing this on YouTube later or on my website, kenokel.com, you can also download it there. I'll put the link in as well. Want to find out more about me? My name is Ken Okel. Website, kenokel.com. That's funny. It's my name. I got that web domain. My email is tvguy@kenokel.com. That's an old broadcasting thing. I worked in broadcast news for a lot of years. When you'd be out and about, people would recognize you, but they wouldn't know your name. So they would just yell out things like, "Hey, TV guy." I welcome you also to connect with me on LinkedIn. In the connection request, mention where you first came across me. That gives me an idea of where you're coming from. Make sure that I don't think you're someone who's trying to sell me something and be a little sneaky. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation. There are a lot of people who want to be great leaders, do good work, support their employees, grow their businesses, and yet little things can throw them off track. So I want to make sure that you are effective. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Ken Okel. Take care.